Good evening and welcome to ITV News. This is Friday night's calendar.
Yes, hello, good evening. Here are tonight's main stories.
This afternoon, the future of British Steel hangs in the balance. Jobs, investment, growth.
Parliament will be recalled tomorrow so MPs can vote on emergency laws designed to protect steelmaking in Scunthorpe.
We've just been told the blast furnaces here were hours from being turned off. Now this major move has been welcomed by workers.
I'm absolutely elated, and I know most of the workforce will be, because we've been waiting for this. It looks like the government's prepared to step in, which is absolutely what the workforce wants and absolutely what the town wants.
I'm in Westminster with the details of how the government plans to step in as it races to save steelmaking in Britain.
We'll have all the latest on what's become a fast-moving story. Also tonight...
Nothing. So there's nothing in that needle? No.
Jail for the nurse who attempted to murder a record store owner in Northallerton with a needle in an unprovoked attack.
If he's got any humanity, he'll give me an explanation.
Never underestimate the women!
Tributes are paid to Anne Scargill, the campaigner and former wife of miners' leader Arthur, whose death was announced today.
And on one of the warmest days of the year so far...
I'm at Headingley for Yorkshire's first home game of the season. It's been beautiful blue skies in cracking first-class cricket.
And I'm at Centenary Riverside Nature Park in Rotherham. It's been a brilliant week. We've had a very settled and prolonged spell, and this has provided a really good start for butterflies. All the detail a little later on.
So first tonight, after a nail-biting few weeks, the threat to thousands of workers' jobs in Scunthorpe may have been lifted tonight with the news that Parliament is to be recalled for a rare Saturday sitting aimed at keeping the town's British steel plant open.
Ministers have been racing to avoid the firm's collapse and the loss of 2,700 jobs after the Chinese owners said they could no longer afford to keep the plant's 2 blast furnaces running.
And it's emerged the furnaces could have been shut down within hours. And the hasty return of MPs from their Easter break is needed to sign off emergency legislation ensuring the continued operation of the furnaces. Well, we'll be getting the very latest from Westminster and what could happen tomorrow in just a moment. But first, let's head straight to Scunthorpe, where Amelia Beckett has spent the day. And Amelia, this news really has only just broken, hasn't it? What's been the reaction so far?
That's right, Ian. It's been changing all day. We knew that over the last 2 weeks, the Chinese owners Jinghe had been in discussion with the government about a bailout to keep the blast furnaces here running. After they rejected that initial offer, unions hoped that they would work towards a solution. But in the last hour, we've learnt that Jinghe had planned to close the furnaces here immediately. That, of course, was the union's worst fear. And up until this morning, they say they didn't know if the government was going to step in. Now they are recalling to Parliament tomorrow to discuss what people here hope will be the saviour of Scunthorpe Steelworks. It's been shrouded under a cloud of uncertainty for weeks. Today, 2,700 workers at Scunthorpe Steelworks have been handed a lifeline.
We are recalling Parliament tomorrow for a Saturday sitting. We will pass emergency legislation in one day to give the Business Secretary the powers to do everything possible to stop the closure of these blast furnaces. And as I have said, we will keep all options on the table. Our future is in our hands. This government will not sit back and just hope. We will act to secure Britain's future with British steel, made in Britain, in the national interest.
Tony is a fourth-generation steelworker. We were sitting with him as he got that news.
Come at just the right moment. It's brilliant. I'm absolutely elated, and I know most of the workforce will be, because we've been waiting for this. I understand that the talks between the government and the company haven't been wholly successful. It looks like the government's prepared to step in, which is absolutely what the workforce wants and absolutely what the town wants and the local community wants. I want the government to step in, take hold of this business and make sure that we've got a future going forward.
As a trade union rep, he spent the past 2 weeks fighting for his job after British Steel's Chinese owners Jingye rejected a government bailout offer of £500 million to keep the plant's blast furnaces running. Talks between them reached crisis point when Jingye cancelled future orders of the raw materials needed to keep the furnaces going. And with only enough left to power them until May, time was running out.
This morning we weren't sure that nationalisation would come. For the last 2 days there's been some intense talks between the government and the company, and we've reiterated on a number of occasions to our senior trade union officials and to government that we were running out of time. If they needed to do it, they needed to do it now. Now I don't want to count my chickens, but yeah, we're hoping tomorrow that that's what's going to happen. They're going to push the button on nationalisation.
The blast furnaces here are the last two remaining in the UK. Jingye had wanted to close them and replace them with greener electric arc furnaces. But not only would that have caused job losses, it would have meant the UK losing its ability to make virgin steel, which is essential for the defence industry. And in a world of Donald Trump's tariffs and a war in Ukraine, it's clear today the government did not want that compromised.
Well, I think they realise that being the only G7 country without capacity domestically to make virgin steel would be a serious threat to our economy and also national security. Steel has a number of military implications, and in things like railways, the sort of things where you wouldn't necessarily want to be relying on a domestic supplier to import steel on that sort of project.
Tomorrow will be the first time Parliament has been recalled since 2021. The Prime Minister says it shows action taken in the name of British industry, British jobs, and for British workers. Here, people hope it'll be the lifeline that stops these steelworks that tower over their town from toppling.
Well, we'll be going back to Scunthorpe shortly, but now let's head down to Westminster, where MPs will be tomorrow, and join our political correspondent David Wood. David, what more do we know exactly about what will happen tomorrow?
The logistics for the day: MPs will file in at about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, where they will have one thing to debate and vote on, and it's the Steel Industry Special Measures Bill that will then work its way through the House of Lords and the government hopes become law by the end of the day. This place works very slowly. Tomorrow it's going to work pretty quickly to try and save British Steel. What that will do is allow the Business Secretary the powers to manage the plant, manage the site, keep the furnaces going, save those jobs and keep steel making going in this country.
And so are we seeing nationalisation here, David?
No, I don't think we are, and the government is keen to say that we're not there yet. Effectively, I think of it as the Business Secretary being the manager, not the owner. But I think it's also very clear that the relationship between the government and the owners of British Steel is in a particularly bad place. I think negotiations have been going on seemingly in good faith, but I think the government is not impressed with today's development, which is why it is saying it's having to step in with this emergency legislation tomorrow. But what I think is also clear is the government is desperate to keep steel making. It's also desperate to save the jobs at Scunthorpe. So this is very, very close to nationalisation, and I think the government would rather nationalise the plant than let it fail. What it probably is looking for, I think, is a co-investor to go in to help get some of the losses off the government's books. But this is close to nationalisation.
Briefly, can you sum up the feeling amongst MPs?
I think there's a lot of relief. Reform want to see British Steel nationalised. The Conservatives say that should only be last resort, and the Liberal Democrats are saying all options should be on the table. MPs are racing back here to Westminster. I think that law will go through tomorrow, and there will be a lot of relief amongst MPs.
David Wood in Westminster, thank you.
Well, back to North Lincolnshire to rejoin Amelia now. And Amelia, you've been getting some more reaction from the unions there, haven't you?
That's right, I'm joined now by Charlotte from the GMB union, and I'll just start, Charlotte, by asking for your reaction to this news today.
It's a really positive first step. We're pleased that government are taking action to secure the blast furnaces, and we hope that this is the first step on a road to nationalisation.
Of course, all eyes on Westminster tomorrow. We don't exactly know what this is going to look like. What are you hoping for?
We're hoping that it will move Jingye out of the way of steel making here in Scunthorpe, that the legislation passed will ensure that government can secure the raw materials to keep the blast furnaces going, and that this is the first step in a process of securing British steel in the interest of national security.
When you heard that they were literally going to close those furnaces today, how did you feel?
We've been warning Jingye about this for a couple of weeks now, and the focus of all of our consultation meetings have been about securing these raw materials so we didn't end up in this position. It's obviously incredibly worrying news for the workforce and for our community, and this announcement couldn't have come at a better time.
All right, Charlotte, thank you ever so much. As you heard there, all eyes on Westminster tomorrow. This isn't just about those 2,700 jobs, it's about the whole of Scunthorpe, a town literally built on steelmaking.
Amelia Beckett live at Scunthorpe, thank you.